What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here, PackersNews.com. I'm here with Matt Miller, draft guru extraordinaire at Bleacher Report. Matt, Packer fans in a bit of a panic the last week or so since they've seen their starting cornerback get traded away. Now watching Morgan Burnett walk out the door to Pittsburgh. The secondary, which, let's be honest, wasn't that good to begin with, suddenly bereft of a bunch of talent. Draft coming up next month. Who might the Packers look at there at 14 to kind of bolster that cornerback position?
Yeah, Aaron, you know how it is, man. Packer fans are going to freak out no matter what, especially in the offseason. And then you guys are going to remember you have Aaron Rodgers, quarterback. So it's okay. A couple names to look at. I think Denzel Ward out of Ohio State is the best corner in this draft. The problem is, especially after a strong combine, he probably played himself into the top 10. So most likely not going to be there at 14. There you can look at names like Josh Jackson out of Iowa, a bigger, more physical corner, which I think fits that prototype they went more toward last year in the draft. We'll see if that's what Brian decides to do this year, especially with that scheme changing. But I think Jackson would be a good fit. He didn't run exceptionally well at the combine. He can do better at his pro day. I think his tape shows a really good corner. And then you get into some of those guys that are maybe on the fringe there, like Jair Alexander from Louisville, who another kind of undersized guy. Mike Hughes from Central Florida, who had a great year this year, just a one-year player at UCF, went to North Carolina, got kicked out, went to Garden City Community College, played well there. So he would be maybe a smaller, faster, aggressive guy that I would look at. Those are the names that kind of exist at 14 right now, unless you really are going to go way out on a limb and say maybe Minkah Fitzpatrick could play corner in that scheme, and somehow by some miracle he happens to fall there.
Now, those are all guys that I've heard of. I'm a guy who tries to keep up with the draft industrial complex as it is, but who might the Packers look at, say they go edge in the first round? They want to bolster the pass rush. I can only imagine the freak out in a day 2 and 3. We don't have any corners. We don't have any corners. Who might the Packers look at later on in the draft as far as, trying to, it may not even be an instant starter, but just someone who could come in and bring some depth?
Yeah, well, the good news is the corner class is pretty deep this year. You could look at someone like Isaiah Oliver out of Colorado as a really good mid-round 2 pick if he happens to be there. He played behind Ahkello Witherspoon and Chidobe Awuzie last year. They were both high picks. Now he really jumped up on the stage this year. Carlton Davis coming out of Auburn, another kind of bigger, longer guy. Dante Jackson out of LSU is a really interesting name. Again, in that round 2, round 3 range. Fastest, tied for the fastest 40 time of the combine. He's a little skinny, but he has height, he has length. He needs to fill out a little bit, but I really liked his tape. I thought if he had been just 10, 15 pounds heavier, we might be talking about him as a guy that would be in play at 14 or be a top 20 pick. So he's kind of an intriguing guy along those lines of someone that you said maybe doesn't jump in right away, but could be one of those 2019 type guys that comes in and is a pretty early starter.
So there you go. All the latest on the NFL draft and the cornerback position. Make sure you check out Matt's work at Bleacher Report. I'm Aaron Nagler for PackersNews.com. We'll talk to you soon.